Hello guys, it's Modest Major here, and today I wanted to go over the latest Halo Inside Infinite update that 343 just released. They actually released a ton of information regarding how the next Halo Infinite flights are going to work. We're getting a flight this weekend for arena matchmaking, more so with a focus on 4v4, and then a big team battle plus arena focus on the next weekend. So that's starting Thursday evening on September 23rd. We're going to get a build become available with training mode, weapon drills, all the stuff we saw on the regular build with the 4v4 matchmaking. And then they'll have specific time windows where you're able to play the matchmaking itself in a multiplayer format, which obviously they gave us that 2-hour window before where you could play multiplayer matchmaking against non-bot controlled players, actual human players. But now we're getting more windows to play this in. So they're giving us a 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. window on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But then also a 5 p.m. till 9 p.m. Window, which is obviously a much more substantial, a 4-hour window. So I missed being able to play the multiplayer matchmaking against actual human opponents. So I'm really excited to get multiple opportunities to be able to test this out, really. This is all in the PT time zone, so obviously that's going to be converted for me. I'm just going to look now, actually, when that will be. So 5 p.m. PT, it'll be 1 a.m. So I'll be going into the late nights, if I'm honest. And I'm more than happy to do it. I'm prepared. At least I know I can plan ahead. And I can just kind of get my times, maybe run a couple night shifts on the old Halo. I'm down like a clown, as they say. And then that's only the first weekend. The next weekend, we got a similar thing where the same time windows, except this time with the big team battle options explored. And they kind of go into a little bit what their approach to big team battle is kind of looking at. Obviously, they've got the 12 versus 12, which is going to be coming our way. They've said that they're trying to maintain and uphold the way and the flow of which Halo multiplayer still kind of goes about, which I think makes sense. You know, you don't want to lose. I think Halo BTB feels unique, and there's always a concern when you add in more players. Oh, is it going to be lost in the kind of amalgamation of players and all the different factors? But what they've tried to say is they want those like key Halo moments to keep propping up time and time again, where there's going to be these dynamic moments that just feel like turning points in the matchmaking, and that they've got these weapon racks as well, which means that I mean the weapon racks is kind of a mechanic that I'm really excited for in Halo moving forward. So what this essentially is the weapon rack, which we saw in the test build as well. This also applies to 4v4 matchmaking. This means that they want to be able to change and shift the weapons of the power weapon sandbox at will. So where the sniper rifle would of course spawn in Guardian in the tower on S1, they would call it. You know, what might spawn there instead is like a hammer or a shotgun. So you take your key memorable power weapon spawning locations. There's actually some versatility in what might spawn there, depending on the map and the game type. Which to me, you know, it's obviously it's one of the more drastic changes that's coming with Infinite, and I feel like it's going to fairly change up the way in which we approach it. You know, if you think about I mean, from a ranked perspective, I'm not sure if it's going to operate exactly the same. They'll probably have to be very careful with the way in which they tweak it. But what I'm excited about is that they're saying that this will allow them to add in new maps and new weapons and new equipment onto specific maps that are completely new to the Halo sandbox. And they said in the past that they had a bit of difficulty with that because obviously if you added in something, this was going to be added in on a bunch of maps, and you had to be a bit careful because this was going to like directly impact the way Halo matchmaking worked before. Whereas now they can just swap one weapon in or one piece of equipment in which they think might work on a particular map well, test it, and if it doesn't work too well, they listen to the feedback and they kind of see how it's going and how people enjoy it. And take it apart, modify it, or take it out of the experience at will. which to me is really, really, really exciting. Obviously, we're getting the drops in as well, which is Pelicans are going to be dropping in vehicles as the match goes on, and it says they'll be dropping in more powerful vehicles, air vehicles, and eventually tanks throughout it. So they say they want that to add a sort of flow into the matchmaking experience, which is gonna kind of mean that each map will have like a steady build up to it, and it's kind of like what you see in like Ordnance in Halo Infinite. I feel like they're trying to add that bit of flavor because um, there was a casual aspect to Ordnance, which I think was like kind of hard for me to completely put down. It's just that it being the main mode and kind of taking over everything in matchmaking, particularly at the beginning of Halo 4 matchmaking, kind of took away from the overall core experience of Halo. But I don't think it was an idea that needs to be tossed away completely, and I think BTB is a pretty good place to throw in these sort of maps. Now, obviously, they're not kill streak based, they're just actually going to be coming in on the map. I don't know if at random, it seems like they may be kind of at random, just kind of shifting the course of the battle, and I think that's fine in BTB. If they still have a ranked BTB mode where it's a little bit more skill based, but they have this BTB mode that's a little bit more social, I think that's personally a great look for the multiplayer space of BTB. I think BTB is where you can afford to be a little bit experimental as long as you don't turn it completely upside down. I want it to be more dynamic. I want it to have a little bit more chaos into the mix. They also go into some detail about their reward opportunities, such as their XP boosts, where you're going to be able to turn on double XP boosts for the weekly challenges, so you'll get double the points from it towards your battle passes, that is. Obviously, they're not going for the standard experience meta that you would usually generally find in a Halo game or any mainline multiplayer title. They still might go back on that. I mean, they've said basically in a manner of words that although it will be at launch, they're open to the idea of change, and they're open. I think it will just kind of depend how it goes down. But I think with the fracture events as well, being able to get these different types of armors, they also said that within the ranked modes, you'll be able to get specific armors that are like specific cosmetic unlocks, depending on if you do really well in a ranking system or a ranking month or a ranking season. To me, that seems super duper exciting. I love having something to show off and having something to strive for. It can make people engaged in the ranked matchmaking and come back for more in a way that they might not normally go for. And it just seems like we have a lot to sink our teeth into these next coming weekends, and I know I'm gonna be on it hella amounts right now. I don't know what it is, but my hype for Halo Infinite has just had this really like steady graph with like no major hitches. I mean, obviously we had the announcement of Forge not being able to make it at launch and no split screen, which were both kind of bummers. But for the most part, outside of those two exceptions, it's been a kind of steady increase and a steady graph of my hype for Halo Infinite. It's just been increasing, and I think now it's just feeling that little bit more real as we're about to get into sink our teeth into BTB. We're starting to get a picture of how the whole game is going to come together rather than just seeing these separate chunks. Because I think so far we've just been seeing, here's a little morsel of it, feeding us, keeping us happy. But like, I want to start seeing how the game's coming together. We're getting to it. They're trying to aim for the release end of this year, and I think that's it's about time. We've been waiting. But anyway, I've been Modest Major. Hope you guys are excited for it. I'll be jumping on those Halo Infinite weekend betas and tests, and I hope you guys are too. I've been Modest Major. Thanks for watching. Peace.